Hi guys, I wanna talk today about power supply. All right, power supply that we need for our consumer electronics in order to operate electronics component or electronics appliance. As you can see, guys, that I have here on the table, there is one of this power supply, very tiny PCB. This is the board of the power supply that we used to call it DC adapter. As you can see here, there are 4 diodes, 5 ceramic capacitors, and of course there is one capacitor, filter capacitor, that it has a polarity minus and plus. And of course, guys, this explanation is those people that they are already more advanced. As you know, for this we need transformer, step down transformer. For instance, if we want 12 volt that I have here, step down transformer, as you know, the primary 220 volt AC that we connect from the mains line, and of course the secondary that we have 12 volt AC that we connect here. In order to achieve the 12 volt DC, that we need to convert from AC to DC, and in order to convert from AC to DC we need diodes, and there are, as you can see, 4 diodes in the position of bridge rectification. Of course there are capacitor that for to protect the diodes in case of if there is high voltage or spike voltage. And of course there are no active component in here, guys. These are not the active component, these are passive component. It simply goes 12 volt and rectified, and we are getting 12 volt. And of course, guys, this power supply is not stabilized, and this is even not regulated. If you are converting into the DC and this is not stabilized, as well as there might be noise. Of course, you know that we use capacitor, filter capacitor, to cancel the pulsating, but still it's not good enough. We need a pure DC and stabilized and regulated, and this power supply is not regulated. It's just power supply is very simple power supply. These days, guys, this power supply almost we can't use in our electronics appliance. because this power supply is not sterilized. Also, it has noise. For instance, if I use this for radio, transistor, any kind of, I don't know, any kind of, for example, for audio, all right, if I want to connect to my amplifier, audio amplifier, if I connect this is not good enough that we can hear humming sound. For instance, if I will connect this to my radio receiver, that I can hear there is a lot of humming sound. And that's why, guys, this is that we can only use for purpose of charging. If we want to charge any kind of electronics device or electronics appliance that they need to be charged, that we can use this just to charge the battery, but we can't apply this power supply to our digital electronics. There's a very big chances that some of the electronics appliance cannot work, or even it can damage the electronics appliance. All right, guys, so as I told you that we connect here 12 volt AC, and we to the that we have input 220, even sometime 200. There is always fluctuation in the mains. Sometime it goes, sometime goes up, sometime it goes down, the voltage, mains voltage. For example, if there is 190 or 200, sometime 220, 230 even, and there is always fluctuation even on the DC. After converted into the DC voltage, there is always changes the voltage. That's why this is not good for our electronics device or electronics component, or you can say is for our consumer electronics, that these days that we have all those electronics devices are in the digital, and this sorry, and this power supply is not good enough to operate our digital electronics. All right, guys, and let's go that I will show you another power supply that I have here. This power supply that we are using today. This is the SMPS power supply, switch mode power supply. As you can see here, we have connector that we connect direct from our wall outlet, mains 220 volt AC. Of course, we have here goes through the filter. There is the choke, and the choke is here, is connected, of course, in the parallel, and here we have capacitor, this capacitor in the series, and this section is for to reduce the noise or interference to other electronics device or any kind of electronic consumer. All right, and this is, of course, it's not the same that I told you. This, it has it comes inside in this PC only 12 volt that step down, and of course this is isolated. And this, if I'm talking about switching mode power supply, is not isolated, guys. And after the 220 volt AC, now it goes to the process of DC. When it's converted into the DC, of course we have pulsating. To reduce the pulsating or cancel the pulsating, that we use capacitor, filter capacitor, that is polarized capacitor. It has two terminal, one minus, one plus. And after that, as you can see here, there is IC. This IC is working as a switch. It's kind of oscillation. And we have here transformer that also is a switching transformer. And of course, guys, as you can see, this power supply is, there are a lot of components. This power supply is a active power supply. There's a lot of components. Those components are active components. And as you can see here, that we can get from this power supply 12 volt plus, 12 volt minus. We can get 5 volt plus, 5 volt minus. What that means, we can get minus volt as well as plus volt, negative volt and plus volt. All right, guys. And this power supply is that we can use in our any kind of electronics appliances these days, because this power supply is stabilized power supply, and there are a lot of components that they are always in the process of the stabilizing the voltage. There is no fluctuation on this circuit. It's stabilized and of course regulated. That's why this power supply is the best to use in our electronics device or electronics, any kind of consumer electronics or appliance. Of course, guys, this is not the isolated power supply. Of course, if we are connecting here, it comes direct 220 volt AC, then we will have here 220 DC. All right, after rectified, we have here 200 DC, because if there is a component, those components are the active components. To operate the active components, that we need DC, and this IC is getting DC, and the switches, this IC is switching between the transformer and the IC, and we can get output 12 volt and 5 volt, even more. It's kind of multiple output that we can get from here. And I have this switching mode power supply, and you can see here I have the battery. Guys, you can see this battery and power supply is the best. It's like if you have this power supply, that is exact like the battery, because it's stabilized and it has no ripple, no pulsating, and it's and this is without any noise or without any humming. Alright guys, so if you like this video, please guys give me thumbs up, and if you have anything to say, please comment me in the description below. Thank you so much for watching my video.